Hey, what's going on? All right, so I'm going to do this cabinet. We're going to go through on how to paint a small cabinet. I'll try to go from start to finish. Everything I do, from taking it apart to masking it off. I already put some paper on the floor, but let's see what I can show you and learn you. This is actually a false drawer front, and this here has only got one door. So it should be pretty simple to show you what we're gonna do and run through it. All right. Woo-hoo! Look at that soft close. So first thing I do is I take apart what I can take apart, and then we're going to mask off what needs masking off. And this, the other thing I should say, which it kind of matters, sometimes it doesn't, but this is what's called paint grade maple. It's paint grade maple, and this is MDF. This is an MDF, so it's all paint grade. So the cabinet maker who made this, and this is just, that's some paint grade maple, but it's going to be shoved in. It's an extra piece to a set of cabinets we already did. And then they decided they weren't going to have this little fridge that they were going to do. They decided they weren't going to put that fridge in. So he said, I'll make an extra cabinet. So typically we don't do little guys like this. Sometimes, you know, but anyway, I thought it'd be a quick, easy thing to show you what to do, how we do it. This is going to be a fine finish as well. This is going to be like, you know, factory finish, but here in the garage. So first thing we're going to do is take off the door, right? So I'll let you see the hinges. These are pretty quality hinges. It's a soft close hinge, and I'll show you afterwards, but these have a little, I don't know if you can see back in here. They have a little guy right there. And let me do it while I'm holding this. Yeah, see that? How it comes right off of there? Let me see if I can do this one too while holding the phone. There it is. So that comes off just like that. All right. So, and there's the clip, right? And I'll show you how that goes. So, see, there's the hinge. And lean that against there. And there's a little clip. And that's the little guy that you do to undo it. You see this little bar right here? Where's that? There's a little bar right there. You see that? That's the little bar that goes, there it is there. That's the little bar that goes inside this little guy right here. If you could see it, there's a little indentation-y thing. That little bar goes in there, and then this end of the clip clips in. See there? Anyway, so when you take these off, you press that little clip, and it basically just kind of falls out like you saw. So that's the first thing we do. We take that guy off. I'm going to set it to the side. I'm going to set it up there. Normally I'm not making videos showing this, so you just take that off and set it to the side real quick. The other thing I do is I don't like to take stuff out and make it, you know, leave it places. So let's see how he did this guy. I don't know why he has those shelves on there, but I'm trying to take those shelves off of there. And this inside here, this stuff is a pre-finished melamine. So you got going on in here. Let me see. I'll take these guys that way. Cheese and rice. Now let's see if we can get them out. There it is. Yeah. Take this guy out of there. I don't know why he's got that on there, but anyway. Boom. There. Sorry, my finger's in the way. So I just take that shelf out of there and push it back there. Leave everything inside here. Those little small pieces, these little clips, I don't know he put that one there, but okay. We'll leave it there in case they want to put it up another notch. But anyway, I just keep all that stuff because that could get lost easy. So I just shove it back in there. And the next thing I do is see these hinges right here. Now, a lot of guys use these types of hinges. And if you notice, it's not just a single hole. It's kind of an oval. You see there, it's kind of an oval. Ugly fingers. So what I do, so that this will go exactly the same place, I take my little knife. I always have my little handy knife, and I'm going to score that right at the top. I'm going to take this one down here and I score it. See there? I score that so that when I take it off now, so I'm going to take this off here. I'm going to set this up here. So when I take it off, I am going to be able to put it right back in the same spot. Take your handy dandy drill. It's always nice to have a magnetic bit, right? And I go there. Now, with these guys here, this is not that crucial. The other part of the hinge is adjustable. So I'm going to label them when I take them off, and I'll show you. I'm going to label it up and lower, upper and lower, U and L, T or B, top or bottom, something like that. These guys are not as crucial. There's no adjustment. As long as we get them the right place up and down on the rail, then we're not going to have a problem with how he brought it to me, right? I'm going to give it to him the same way he brought it to me, just it's going to look painted and special and fresh. So I'm going to pop those guys there. Here we go. Put everything inside the cabinet because I don't like to lose stuff. I don't want to looking around. If you'll watch some of my videos, I'm not the cleanest guy in the world, so I'm a little disorganized at times. And it'll easily get lost around here. Anyhow, so there's that. Let me show you very quick. So that's got a little score on it right there. Not very big, but just a little line. You can see the line. And I'll show you when we put it back together that it's still there. So there's all that. All right. All right, next thing I'm going to show you is these hinges right here. How we're going to take those off of there since we're doing it. It's kind of crucial. Let's see if I could do this one-handed. If not, I'm going to flip this up on the ceiling. Living on the ceiling. But since this is a different thing. So this carpenter, he just does this with these hinges. There's no screws. This thing flips up. Do you see how that flipped up? I take this and I pop it here, and that's comes off. Now I know this is the top of the door, right? This is the top. So I'm gonna pop in here. I'm gonna write T right there. That's the top. All right. And then once I put top on, what I do is I'm gonna have to figure this stuff out. I put this piece of tape there to cover it. I always know that's the top of my door. All right. Then I'm gonna take this, get my little knife here. You can take a putty knife, whatever. There it goes, flipped up. See there? And then it just comes out of there. They hold pretty good. They come out pretty easy. Now I don't do anything with this hole. I know this is my top. I don't need to know that that's my bottom. When I'm doing a big set of cabinets, I'll put whatever number of the door is there, and I always know that that's the top of the door because that's the only hole I mark on a doors. All right. Then the only thing here, let me see here. What I do is I do mark these guys because this has an adjustment on it. There's different adjustments on these hinges. So I do mark top, B. I'll put a B on there. And mark those like that. There it is. Top and bottom. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these guys and take these and I'll stick them in there with the other parts of the hinge. So everything's in there and everything's taken off. All right. And I use a cardboard box typically to work my doors on. Or you could use like we use blankets and stuff like that too, but just for now, that's what it is. All right, we're gonna put the door up over in the dry rack area for a minute, set it aside in our cardboard box, and then we're going to mask off the opening. All right, so to mask this off, I am going to use a masking machine. Now, if you've ever seen one of these in the store and gone, what the heck is that? This is a masking machine. I offloaded it so I can load it up and show you. This is the paper. Normally it comes in the fat roll. I've used a lot of this paper, but so the paper goes on here like so. See what? Hold on a second. I'll show you. This has a little thing here. See there? I'll show you on this side. This has got this little thing right here, right? So I've done this before. So anyway, stick this on. Now the paper is going this way. See how it's going? All right, we're gonna stick that in there just like so, lifting this little guy, lifting this thing up with the thumb. Stick that in there. That little thing plops down and it holds that paper. You see there? All right, I don't know if I'm showing you the best, but that's how that goes. All right, now put your tape on. This is our tape. This is the roll. Here we go. Doesn't need to be a full roll. It can be. It's nice when you're starting out fresh and you got a fresh roll of paper, fresh piece of tape. Anyway, this is the tricky part. All right. See if I can show you this and see if you get it. You stick the tape on here, all right? You take the tape. It's got this little guy right there. This little piecey guy right there. All right, so you gotta take your tape, you gotta stick that little piece underneath. You see how I shoved it underneath there? It's underneath, all right? Then we come over here and we stick it. How do I show this? Stick it on our paper. Stick it on our paper, right? Now, this little piece thing that I was holding up earlier, there it is. My hand's in the way. There it is. All right. Take your tape and you gotta go lift that up. Lift that little piece up. Come underneath. Pull it out. Now the tape is stuck to the paper. See how that goes? See how that is? Oh my goodness. And then this blade here, it's this blade. Pull it up like that and holy moly, that's what I use. And makes life a little bit easier. So, all right, so here's the other thing I do. We're gonna mask this guy off, but we need to tack some of this tape down. It's the other thing I do. The roll paint goes this way. The roll tape goes this way. The roll is, you see there, it's going that way. So, stick the tape roll on your hand. I have pretty big hands. My hand goes through there. There it is. So, this is what I do. I've been doing this for a minute. I take, get off of there. I'm a freshie. All right, here we go. Ready? Boom. Now, start on this inside corner. Going inside, I'm taping off that melamine. You know? Taping off the melamine. Here we go. Now, let's see if you can see this okay. We're going, I'll do a close-up in a minute. Right on the edge. Right on the edge. And inside here, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Take another piece. Start where I left off. Over here. Do. Oh, boom, boom, boom. Oh, do. Now, I go ahead and curl this up under. Boom, boom, boom. Curl that up under. Comes down. There it is. Beautiful. So, with this, fold it this way. Tack that down. Come this way. And tack these guys together. Beautiful. Like that. Going behind. Or in front, don't matter. Do. I wish I'd stick that right there like that. Down in here. Like so. It's not the most beautiful. Start rolling with a bunch of cabinets to get the hang. But there's a lot of the fellas these days, and ladies, I suppose, but it's mostly disgruntled dudes that will comment on your videos. Say, why don't you use plastic? Why don't you set it up and then tack the plastic to it? I don't like to use plastic. I know they say they've made new plastic that doesn't mess up on you, but I don't trust it. All right? If you do plastic and your plastic, you do plastic and you spray it and let it dry. You got paint on plastic. Now you hit it with your second coat and it hits that plastic and it goes poof and all the paint goes everywhere. And they say they make new plastic nowadays that doesn't do that. I don't want to find out that it still does do that. So this works for me every time. So what works for me every time, we're going to keep doing. It's not maybe the prettiest. A lot of practice on masking. I have my guys do that most of the time, but hey, it's all good. It's what my Christmas presents look like too. Just wrapped funny. Oh yeah. We're good. Ain't nothing getting in there. There it is. Howdy doody. There it is. All the edges are masked off. Ooh, let's tighten that up. All good. Not the most beautiful in the world, but hey, that's that. So we are ready to start doing some priming. Yeah. All right, well, I was getting ready to paint this and I saw this little teeny blemish on the corner. Let's see if I can get it to focus. And I'm going to show you how to fix that, because you can't patch that. There's no patch that will stick and stay. It'll be a no bueno. So I'm going to show you how to fix that. little thing. All right, so I'm gonna take a regular rag, just a rag like this. Regular iron. Take this. Pretty quick one. Little bing ding like that. Don't patch it, don't sand it. Just take the iron, iron it out. Go. Just like that. There it is. Ready to go. Woo! So what I do is I tint my primer to the color we're gonna do the finished product. So this is a tinted primer. It's a water-based primer. And first I hit my edges as I go all around and then just do the flat surfaces. But I try to hit all the angles when I'm spraying, hitting the inside edges first, outside edges, then I go ahead and hit the flat surfaces. Again, these edges aren't masked off because it's going to be shoved inside. And I kind of want to coat on those for when it is shoved inside and you won't see it. But that's a primer coat. Up next, I'm going to do the door. I start off with the back side of the door. I use a little bucket and put a rag over it. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray the edges first, all around. And then I just spray the flat surface. You overlap 50% on all the passes. Put a nice coat on. It's flat. You really don't have to worry about it dripping, but you don't want to load it up either. And you pick it up and take it into the dry room. And once it's dry enough, take it out and do the top side. Same thing. And when I do the top side, I shoot the edges again. Helps get a coat of paint on there. Actually, this is primer. Helps get that primer on there. This is tinted primer. I use 123 deep base. They have a deep base primer. And you just tell the paint store this is the color I want. It doesn't need to match exactly, but it gets a coat on there that's real close and helps everything cover well. All right, so I'm going to take this back to the dry room and it's going to dry. Once it's dry, it's all ready to go and I'm going to sand it. So once you prime everything, it needs sanding. Now this is sandpaper. What you do, you take a sheet of sandpaper, you fold it in half. I think I'm using 220, but you fold it in half, give it a good crease. And then I'm going to get out my handy dandy knife. You can get out a putty knife. Sometimes you don't even need to do that. Once you crease it, it'll tear, but I just cut it with my knife. And so you cut that in half. Once you got your halves, what you do is you fold it in thirds. Here you go. You take the half, you fold it in thirds, and it gives you a nice sanding pad, a nice little sanding piece. It holds up well. It's in thirds, and you've never been taught this. Whenever you sand wood, go with the grains. Don't just randomly go anywhere. Even though this is an MDF center panel, you still act like it's got grains, I guess. But I guess you could go randomly. It's just good practice to always go with the grains. You can always crease this too and get into that channel there. That channel on the backside is pretty rough typically, so sand that up, get everything sanded smooth. Anytime you spray a primer or paint any type of wood, most surfaces, if you paint them, they're going to fur up. They get a little furring, they get rough. So no matter what you paint, if it's sheetrock or wood or whatever, it always has a little furring up that happens on your first primer. So you want to give everything a nice light scuff it all up. You saw there I used a duster brush and dusted off the sanding dust. And like I said, go in your one direction and go with the grains. Notice I'm not cross sanding. You want to make it nice so that it feels good, nice to the touch. You can tell the difference. You feel it, and you'll feel it's smoothed out with your sanding. There you go. Get the edges there as well, all the surfaces of the area that you're painting. And here I get a little rag and just wipe it down, get that dust off. And so that's going to get ready for its finished coat. And next, I want to sand this box up so it's all dry. Just want to sand all these little edges, all the surface, get everything feeling smooth. You just want to knock off that roughness that happens once you put a coat of primer on everything. And also sanding it helps the finished coat have better adhesion as well. Anytime you sand stuff, it gives it what we call a little bit of tooth, something to grab to. Those little sanding, the sandpaper has little granules on there and makes these little microscopic cuts into the surface as well, and helps the paint get in there and gives it better adhesion. So all the little edges, anywhere someone would touch it, and wherever, you just want to really thoroughly sand everything up. And then with this one here, I get my handy dandy compressor and just blow it off with my little attachment to my compressor. I can just blow everything down. So I'm going to blow it off and get all the dust and sanding dust off of there. And I'm ready to put the finish coat on it. So again, I'm going to hit the edges and get those angles, put a light coat on, nothing heavy. We're going to put 2 coats on this, but just want to get those inside rails, outside rails, and focus on the angles and the edges. And then the flat surfaces will take care of themselves underneath. And there we go.
I'm spraying a polyurethane from Centurion. It's made for cabinets, and it has a really good, durable finish. So there's the first coat on there. And I'm ready for my finish coat on my door. Again, I start with the backside first. It's been sanded and dusted, wiped, so we're ready to go. I hit the edges again first, go all around, and nice even pass, overlapping 50%, keeping my spray gun perpendicular to the surface, and a nice even coat on there, and it's ready to go into the dry room. And it'll dry for a couple hours. Once that's ready to go, bring it back out. Check it out real quick. And we're ready for the front side to get the finish coat. Again, I hit the edges all around. And when you hit those edges as well, it does get a bit on the surface, so it kind of is coating that as well. Kind of getting a bit of material on there, but just nice even flow, 50% overlap on your fan, keeping the gun perpendicular to the surface, about 12 to 18 inches away. Again, this is a Centurion polyurethane finish, and off to the dry room she goes. So once we get our coats on there, that's about it. I'm just going to demask this, and this is a real quick demask job. Feels like Christmas. We're just going to unwrap it. And be looking good. Take the tape right off. You don't want to leave tape on there too long as well. This didn't take us too long to do, so the tape wasn't on there for days and days. But that is one thing. You don't want to leave stuff taped up forever. And also the other thing I didn't mention, I did put the box on. I have 4 buckets, and I have a little piece of wood there, raising it off the buckets. Helped me. I didn't want to get down on my hands and knees spraying it. But it is good to put like a little piece of wood between either the ground or the buckets or your surface or whatever it is. But take that masking off and put the shelf back on. Slap that in there. Take me a second. All right. Slide right in. And I'm ready to start putting the hinges back on. I remember I put all my hardware and the hinges and everything just in the box, so now I know where it's at. I line that plate up with that line that I left where I scored it earlier, so I just line that thing up and know exactly where it goes. Screw that in there. Again, when you're putting this hardware on, it is helpful to have a magnet or a magnetic bit for your drill. It holds that screw on. And my drill has a little flashlight on there, or a little light that hits, so you can see that line and line it up with that scored mark that I put on there real well. Next, here's our door. And take that tape out of there. Be sure, yep, that's the top. And here's my hinge. These are real easy to put in because it's just a different kind the guy uses. So you flip up that little flange piece and you wedge it in there. It goes in pretty easily. We didn't use loads of paint, didn't change the dimensions or anything. So you just stick it in there and flip this thing down. There it goes. And there we are. There's the bottom hinge. So I've got them labeled top and bottom. And flip that guy up there. You see he's got those bigger little things at the bottom, at the one side. It all fits in there when you shut that flange, it kind of expands those things. And they're held in there real tight. I've never seen them fall off or anything like that. So I'm going to take my tape off. Everything's labeled. I'm not used to doing this one-handed, but there it goes. A little easier if not holding something, filming what you're doing. All right, got that off of there, and we can put the door on. Here we go. Again, that hinge bar fits right into that little groove in the plate, and once you get it in there, if the top one ain't going in right away, you could try the bottom. That bottom one's snapped right in, and there goes the top, and there it is. Soft close hinge doing its thing. We're all painted up and ready to go. So there's our cabinet. We are all done and looking good. Ready for the cabinet maker to come pick it up, and he's going to put it in, and there we are. That's how you do that.